Well, hello there. We are in a modern daily, and probably the only time I have to do a modern daily, and it's only 17 people big, so that's what we're gonna have to do, is hope and pray that we can get through 16, 17 people. We're gonna keep this hand. We can start off with the Wild Nakatl, and we can go right into Geist on turn 2. He's starting with a copper, a Cinder Glade. I'm gonna assume that means he's like a Escape Shift, because that's probably the only thing that makes sense. So we're gonna start off with the Wild Nakatl, and we're gonna start off with a Stomping Ground. Just that way, if we draw into a bolt, we can cast it. We can still get, white off of this and everything. So let's do this. And we'll yield till end of turn. So I'm assuming that this is going to be a Escape Shift deck. Starting on a Cinder Glade's not super great, though. We'll see how this goes. I mean, this guy is in... No. He's got a Shockland, so he knows he's not... He's got to be Escape Shift. That's the only thing that makes sense. And he's probably got a Counterspell in hand. I've got nothing to cast, and I'm not going to hide that I've got nothing to cast, so... I'm just going to go ahead and straight up keep something into play tapped. And just pass the turn here. Let's see what he casts. Maybe Anticipate? Peer Through Depths. Yeah, he's got to be 100% a Escape Shift deck at this point. But that would be great for us if he's going to get a Lightning Bolt. Okay, so we know that Nakatl's getting bolted. So the hope here is, and him doing it right now is actually the correct move, that he doesn't either have another land, it's going to come into play tapped, cool, so we're not going to be able to cast our Geist without any worries. He also might, peek or something at this point, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead and crack some lands. It doesn't really matter if I conserve my life total or not. I don't think he's going to beat down, but just in case, I'm going to go with this route here. And, oh crap, I just blew this game. I totally remembered that I needed to get blue now, and I totally just blew the game. Oh, that's shitty. Oh well. Well, we still have a shot here. We can go into Collected Company and hopefully win off of this Collected Company. Maybe into a... I'm actually going to go ahead and cast my... let's see here. I'm going to go with, yeah, Breeding Pool. I'm going to let him Lightning Bolt out, or go for Peer Through Depths and cast it. Yeah, I'm playing terribly right now. Obviously he's going to remand this, and I couldn't wait. So he's going to, okay, no, he's going to Peer Through Depths in response. Farseek? Sure, that's not going to be a game-winning spell quite yet. Going to the Noble Hierarch is pretty awful. We really needed to hit a Knight of the Reliquary at this point. Well, we have enough to cast several creatures at any rate. We'll just hope that we can win the game. Well, we've got enough to cast the Knight of the Reliquary and the Geist of Saint Draft. I won't cast Retreat to Coralhelm yet. I suppose I could cast it and just threaten the game win here. We actually may still have a chance just to win off of Knight. If he's got no way to kill Knight, then we just win the game. And if he counterspells it, we're actually pretty fine still. Cryptic Command. Okay, no. So, that kind of stinks. Maybe we should have casted the Geist of Saint Traft. But Geist of Saint Traft can still win this game pretty quickly, and Tarmogoyf will back us up if he has no way to win. So here's the Farseek. He might not have land for turn. No, he's got it right here. So he could still just combo and win the game. We sort of punted the game without playing the Geist. Yeah, we punted the game by not being able to play the Geist there. I mean, we ended up doing it 2 turns too late. We could have swung a couple times on him. So yeah, that's my own fault. I punted it just by not doing my mana. I'm a little rusty with the deck, and I'm also kind of frazzled from, 11 hours at work. Excuses are still excuses. I'm just going to go ahead and let him combo off, though. Alright, let's get started on the sideboarding. I think I could have won that game if I played better, but, I didn't. We're going to bring in Thalias, obviously. We're also going to bring in Aven Mind Sensors. We're going to bring in Negates, and maybe even Meddling Mages and Dramoka's Commands. The truth is, Collected Company can find us some of these cards, which will be worth mentioning. Negates can... I think we're going to take out the Retreats, because he's going to have counter spells to back up right now. And we also don't need the Qasali Pride Mages. They aren't doing anything for us. Also, the Lightning Bolts aren't really doing anything for us, so we'll take those out. Think about what we're going to put back in. Probably either a Retreat or a Qasali Pride Mage. I think probably either a Pride Mage or Retreat. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was arguing. What is better? Let's leave 1 Retreat in there. You can see it's very, very small. Yeah, I think 2 more swings would have put him down to at least... Yeah, could have killed him because he was at 12. And it would have forced him to be a little bit more on the back burner rather than being able to cast some of the cards that he did. So, my giving him a free Time Walk turn kind of blew that game. Still getting used to running 4 lands, and I am playing this at sort of late-ish at night. Alright, so we're back. Let's go ahead and see what starting hand we have. Hopefully we're not stupid. We'll keep it. We've got access to almost every color. Hopefully we will not play as dumb as before. We have no blue, or we have no, red. But that's fine. Losing one damage a turn isn't the worst. I mean, it is kind of if he runs things like Pyroclasm. But he's very likely just going to bolt the Nicodle. I can't see why he wouldn't bolt the Nicodle, right? Which is going to mean that our Tarmogoyf is going to land and be big enough to survive anything. Oh, but Thalia is actually very good here. Let's go ahead and cast Thalia instead. That'll mean that next turn it's not like I'm going to get counterspelled here either. He might, emphasis on might, have something to do here. Oh, score a Tri-Builder. Sure. So it looks like Tarmogoyf wasn't even going to hit anyways because he's going to block Sack. But this is a better thing anyways because it's going to force him to actually have to spend extra mana for Farseeks and whatnot. Mana that arguably he'll have eventually. I'm not going to cast Knight off this just because Tarmogoyf will hit harder. I wish I had a fetch land. I would have casted Knight if I had a fetch land because then I know that it's not going to get Pyroclasmed away. Still, if his only answer here is a Pyroclasm, that's not that bad for us. If his only answer is a Pyroclasm, then obviously we'll lose the Thalia, but it'll take his entire turn to do so, and or at least most of it, unless he's got like a cantrip, and Tarmogoyf would grow off of it. And this will delay, well, it won't delay Escape Shift, but it will at least hinder him from being able to cast certain things. I'm going to assume this is the Pyroclasm. He can't Is It Charm here. I always see a lot of people tapping oddly. So Bolt, huh? Yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. So, see you later, Tarmogoyf. At this point, I'm going to have to cast the Knight. I'm still kicking myself over last game. But, you know, who knows? Maybe I'll just draw the one of Retreat to Coralhelm, and it'll force him back. He also may end up keeping counterspells open just because of this. Hopefully he doesn't have more land drops, but I can't see why they wouldn't have any more land drops than this. If he's gonna Visions, this isn't super great for him. If he's gonna Farseek, it's alright for me. I am officially slowing him down with this Farseek. The fact of the matter is, he had to pay 2 extra mana at this point to, Tarmogoyf, huh? Well, Pathing to Exile is not exactly what I wanted to do here. But it is a possibility of something I can do. I can gain 1 extra mana. So I can not play Nicodle and other stuff. I think I'm okay with if he attacks with Tarmogoyf. It's not the worst trade in the world. I'd rather be able to counter a Pyroclasm if he decides to go for the Pyroclasm, which means that he won't have Scape Shift in hand, or counter a possible Scape Shift. I think he's going for the Scape Shift at this rate. Farseek, sure, it's there. You can have an extra land. At end of turn, I'll just path the Tarmogoyf. Are a lot of Scape Shift decks playing that right now? Are they playing Tarmogoyfs? I see nothing on MTG Goldfish about Tarmogoyfs. There's also not a ton of them either. There's like, how many of them? There's 3 decks in the current quote-unquote meta. He's taking a lot of time to think about it. Let's go ahead and escape and path to exile this Tarmogoyf. Maybe he wants to counterspell that. Honestly, I'm very okay with it. The hope here is that he has not very many basics. I mean, he's got obviously a snow-covered plains, or snow-covered forest, but there's really not much else happening. Sinjiri Step. I suppose that's fine. Let's put it on Wild Nikotl. I don't think he's got double burn spells. He's already got 2 bolts, and he's not going to be able to cast them anyways. So if we are okay to just do this, we'll give him protection from red. We'll go into a attack step and just start laying down the attacks. And we can negate an Anger of the Gods, which is the important thing. We can also negate a... he's going to peer through depths probably to find Escape Shift. He might have a counterspell in hand, which would kind of blow. Let's see what he peers. Search for Tomorrow, huh? Okay. Alright, so let's see if we just can attack and win. He probably has a Cryptic Command, but unless he's got 2 Cryptic Commands, I think he loses, and I think we're going to negate it. And we're going to have to negate this Cryptic Command anyways, because if he's got a second counterspell in hand, then it won't matter to hold the negate for the, it won't matter to hold the negate for the second, the second counterspell when he has Scape Shift. Like, it won't matter. We have to just try to end the game here and now if we can. Oh, looks like we got it. Cool. So we're going to move on to a game 2. Game 3. Excuse me. Alright, so now we know what's in his deck. Is there anything that we want to bring back? No, the bolts weren't doing anything. No, the pyroclasms weren't doing anything. No, the core firewalkers cannot die to a bolt, but really that's like one of the small parts of my concerns. I've sided out in Nikotl against Escape Shift decks before. Quasali Primate would be the only thing I'd consider bringing in, as well as the Retreat, you know, to have a combo win. But I think I'm probably fine here. I'm still collect accompanying for enough creatures that I don't mind having this Retreat to Coralhelm in instead of Quasali Primate. If he's running things like Inferno Titan and things like the Tarmogoyf or Obstinate Baloth, I think I'd rather have the way to tap it down at any rate anyways. Yeah, I think this is fine. This is definitely a keepable hand. We're going to have a turn 1 Nikotl, turn 2 Tarmogoyf, and hopefully a turn 3 Aven Mind Sensor, but if we don't, we can still have our turn 3 Nikotl. So we'll just go ahead and keep this. Alright, we have a turn 3 Aven Mind Sensor, so it's not the worst thing in the world. We're going to start on this guy. You don't sometimes want to give away the fact that you're running Aven Mind Sensor in your board. Aven Mind Sensor was an Osakpo's idea from the Zoo thread. I just think I like it, so I decided to keep it. And if he bolts, perfectly fine with me. That puts my Tarmogoyf, if he has no counterspell, puts my Tarmogoyf ahead. Alright, so we're gonna land this Tarmogoyf, unless he decides not to. In which case, we're just still gonna try to put the Tarmogoyf down. We have no reason not to. Yeah, we're landing this Tarmogoyf. Argarabolas. Dude, this guy's digging deep. He's got some deep cards. What is he gonna reveal? Hopefully not like Anger of the Gods. Farseek. Okay. Yeah, he's digging deep, man. And so that's it. That's all he's got. Okay. Fine with me. I could put down the Noble Hierarch and the Wild Nikotl. Technically will do more damage. But instead I'm gonna go for a Sacred Foundry here. And say no to that. And oh yeah, I did want to actually cast Tarmogoyf. Damn. I'm just not thinking correctly today. Oh, if I win, it's going to be like a miracle that I won. A miracle that I win. Hopefully he puts down a fetch line and does not crack it. He has a Farseek in hand. I can't see him not casting the Farseek that I know about. Although he might want to hold it. I don't know. I'm trying to think why he would hold the Farseek. I guess if he was worried that I was going to cast something turn 3 and it was going to be really bad. The upside is bolting my Wild Nacatl does not stop an Aven Mind Sensor. Might just want to end up holding Bolt for... Actually, I might want to hold Bolt for... He's going to Snapcaster Bolt here. Might want to hold the Aven Mind Sensor for when he goes for the Scape Shift. And just go for a Noble Hierarch Tarmogoyf. I think that's actually what I'm going to end up doing here. And 1 damage in. Alright. Yeah, we're going to go for the Tarmogoyf here. It's going to get remanded or peered through depth. That's fine. Scape Shift. So yeah, we know he's got Scape Shift, so I'm actually going to hold the Scape Shift for when he decides to go for it. And I'm just going to cast the Aven Mind Sensor in response to that, I think. I think that's probably my best bet here. Stomping Ground seems probably my best call here. So many players. I gotta make sure next round, no matter how this one ends up happening, I don't fall victim to that. He's got a Farseek. I knew that I was gonna lose against the Farseek, and not by not casting my Aven Mind Sensor, but I wanted to go for some aggression. I really got to get this game moving. Got to get some momentum in my area here. So he doesn't have access to enough to Scape Shift kill me, so I think it's actually better if I were to just go for the Collected Company. He doesn't have enough to Scape Shift kill me, because he'll have 5 lands, and maybe a naturally drawn 6th, and that's not enough to kill me. He needs 7 in order to do it. So I think we're going to go for that. I'm actually going to do it at the end of combat here. Because he's going to block the Arger, so it doesn't matter if I... Oh, I guess he didn't. Alright then, he took the damage. So let's go Collected Companying. Finding an Aven Mind Sensor is actually pretty good here. Because that means that I can, I mean, sans him Anger of Godding, which he doesn't even have the mana for. This will stop the Scape Shift. At least he's got to kill off the Aven Mind Sensor before he can go for the Scape Shift. Which he's going to do right now. But we've got the second Aven Mind Sensor in hand. And we're going to be able to cast... both Aven Mind Sensor and the Knight of the Reliquary in one turn. Because he's going to jet for that. Geist of St. Trask is a pretty good draw, too. So we know he doesn't have the Anger of the Gods. He might have it in hand, but he can't cast it at any rate. I just wonder if I leave my mana completely open so that way... Well, no, he's probably got hard counterspells. He probably doesn't have Remand. Oh, they do run Remand. But he Cryptic Command manned a hard counterspell. I don't know if he probably maybe took Remand and put it into his sideboard. Gotta wonder about that. I mean, Remand is a worse answer than things like Anger of the Gods, right? You block here, correct? We're going to put the Night of the Rockworry down. Night of the Rockworry survives in Anger of the Gods or Pyroclasm if he decides to go for that route. We're just going to hope he doesn't have the Remand for when he does end up going for the... Well, I guess if he has a naturally drawn land, he gets up to, what, 6 mana? It's not quite enough to Scape Shift for the win. He's got a hard cast Search for Tomorrow. Sure. That does not end the game here for me. And then he's going to Farseek. Okay, so we know he has Escape Shift in hand plus one other card. Hopefully it's not. Well, if it's a Remand, that's actually perfectly fine too. He's going to block the Snapcaster Mage to my Knight. I'm going to have to crack. Alright, so we're just going to go for a... Yeah, Hollowed Fountain tapped. So I'm going to play around a Remand by not actually using my mana. So that way I have double way to cast the Aven Mind Sensor. So when he goes for the Scape Shift, especially if he doesn't float correctly, we'll be completely fine. Let's see what he ends up doing. Alright, so he didn't... Yeah, we're just going to have to do it right now. Go for the Aven Mind Sensor. He doesn't have the mana to Cryptic, so he can only Remand, in which case we're just going to cast the Aven Mind Sensor again. He could have Snap Bolt, which would stink. But we'll see how this ends out for us. He's got the mana to Snap Bolt at any rate. But I'm hopeful that he only has, like, Remand in hand. Because he's been holding on to that one card that he's got in hand for a while. Could also be a Cryptic. Could be a creature like a, I don't know, like Inferno Titan or something. Could be a Negate. I'm looking at the sideboard of what these cards usually run. Maybe even a Rending Volley. But Rending Volley would be good enough too. So he's actually not going to sack anything, huh? He's just going to let the Escape Shift resolve. Alright, well, we didn't die. We also have enough here to Night of the Rockworry for a I'm trying to think. This isn't lethal, right, on its own. So we have to attack with the Knight regardless. So yeah, one of the cards in his hand was just... Okay, so he's got, what, a Cryptic Command, and he just didn't play correctly? Oh, he's going to Scape Shift again, but this time he's got to look at the top 4. Okay, so he had 2 Scape Shifts in hand. Couldn't cast one in response, so we win that. I shouldn't have won that game. It was really sloppy. I've made mistakes every game up there. I like made a mistake by not casting the Tarmogoyf on turn 2, and then getting it bolted because of the wild Nacatl. I made a mistake by not being able to on game 1 by not casting my Geist of St. Traft for the blue. I shouldn't have won those games. I luckily did, but I got lucky. Even Mind Sensor is a great card against this matchup. So is Thalia. So I managed to pull out. I also don't think this guy was sideboarding all that well against me. He seemed, or maybe I was just sideboarding better than him. He seemed to have the wrong cards. Anyways, a win's a win, and I'm not going to argue with that.